Hey developers, I hope you are doing good. So in this video, I am going to show you how you can install Tailwind CSS in a simple HTML project. So we are not going to use Vite, we are not going to use React, we are not going to use Next.js. We are going to install Tailwind CSS in a simple HTML project. So before we start, you just have to make sure you have installed Node.js. So go to nodejs.org. The link is going to be in the description. So download whatever the latest LTS version is. So you have to download the file and install Node.js. So after you have installed Node.js, go to any directory in your computer and type cmd here and press enter. So you will see a Windows terminal like this. Let me zoom in. So if you are using Mac or Linux, you just have to open the terminal. So here you have to run node-v. So as you can see, my version is 18.17.1. So after you have installed Node.js, the next step, you have to go to the documentation and then you have to press get started. So here the first thing we are going to do is to run this command npm install-d tailwind css. So copy this command and go to your terminal. So here you have to paste this command. So what this command is going to do, it's going to install Tailwind CSS as a dev dependency. So after Tailwind CSS has been installed, you will see a message something like this. So after the installation, you will see a node modules folder, package.json and packagelog.json. So I'm going to open this folder in VS Code. So code space dot. So it will open VS Code. So the next step is to run another command, which is npx tailwind init. So just copy this command and paste this command here. So what this command is going to do, it's going to initiate a config file. So as you can see, it has created a Tailwind CSS config file. So the config file is going to be inside your directory. As you can see, now I have tailwind.config.js. So this config file is going to have all the configuration required to run Tailwind CSS. So now the next step is going to be adding the content. So you just have to copy this content and paste it here. So let me just paste. So this content array is going to tell Tailwind CSS where to look for HTML files or JS files. So it says go to source directory and anything nested in source directory, any file name, but the extension has to be HTML or JS. So because we are installing in a simple HTML project, we are not going to have any source folder or any nested folder. So I am going to remove this source and nested folder. So now it says in the current directory, whatever the file name is, because it is star, you just have to look for HTML and JS files. Now the third step is you have to go to documentation and then add Tailwind directive to your CSS. So in the source, we are going to have input.css and we have to copy and paste these things. So because we don't have the source folder, I prefer having a CSS folder. So I will create a CSS folder and inside this CSS folder, I am going to create input.css. So in this input.css file, I'm going to paste these things. So what are these things? So this is Tailwind base layer, this is Tailwind components layer, and this is Tailwind utilities layer. So what we are going to do next is we are going to copy another command, this command, which is going to start Tailwind CLI build process. So you just have to copy this command and go to your terminal and paste this command. So what this command is going to do, so it says start the Tailwind CSS and -i stands for input. It's going to scan input file which is in source input.css, and then -o stands for output and it's going to generate an output file. In the source folder there is going to be output.css, and as we did not have source folder, we created a CSS folder. So our input file is in CSS folder and our output file is also going to be in CSS folder. So this --watch means that this process has to watch for every single file change. So if I press enter, it's going to start the watcher. So as you can see, it started watching. So it says done in 460 milliseconds. So now if I go and I create an HTML file, index.html, and here I am going to have the basic structure of HTML. So let's say Tailwind CSS. Now the next step, we have to add the output file inside this HTML file. So let's say link href is going to be in the CSS directory. We are going to have the output CSS. Remember, you have to link the output CSS, not the input CSS. And then we are going to have rel equal to style sheet. And now inside the body, I can add my HTML. So let's say h1, welcome to Tailwind CSS. And for that, I'm going to use class text blue 500, text 2xl, and text center. So if I control S and run this file, as you can see, I have blue color for the welcome to Tailwind CSS text, and the text is in center. So our classes are working. So now if you create another file, let's say about.html, let's add a basic structure. So now if I say about us, so here you also have to link that CSS file. So I have to copy this thing and I have to paste this, and here let's say h2 about us, and let's have class text center, text 2xl, and text gray 900. So if I control S and if I go to about.html, you will see about us is also working. So this is how Tailwind CSS works in HTML. So in the terminal, you can see it has been watching for our file changes. So it's a rebuilding, and it takes some time, and run the watcher and create a output file. So if you see in the output file, you will see at the end all the classes we used are going to be generated here. So we use text blue, we use text 2xl, we use text center, we use text gray 900. So all the classes are going to be generated after scanning those HTML files. So this is how you can install Tailwind CSS. This is how you can configure Tailwind CSS. So if anything happens and your project is not working, you just have to make sure your watcher is still watching your files. So if I close this and if I go and change something, so let's say instead of text gray 900, we are going to have text blue 900. It's not going to work. So if I go, and as you can see, it's not working because the watcher is not watching the input changes. So you have to run this in order to watch for the changes. So that's it for today. I hope you have learned how you can install Tailwind CSS without using any framework. I hope this is helpful for you. If you have learned anything new, just press the subscribe button and follow me for more videos.